let's not mince our words, children. You already went down to the comments and are saying something right now as I speak that is deeply personal and very, very harsh towards me. So, let me just tell you, let me just warn you, that my father already heard this casting and said terrible, terrible, hurtful things towards me, so I think he was joking. Probably. But let's just read out the 5 next fan casts. You guys can vote on them while you're down there saying mean things in the comments, and then we'll get down to explaining what's going on here, okay? So the next 5 fan casts, all Christmassy, that you can vote on down there are as follows: The Polar Express, A Klaus, Arthur Christmas, Christmas Carol, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So you go ahead and vote, and I'll just move on and try not to be hurt by any of the other things I see in the comments, okay? I'm gonna keep the sunglasses on just because that's my theme for today's videos, and also I am afraid I'll cry just imagining what you guys are gonna leave in the comments. But let's face it, okay? Looking at the 2000 Jim Carrey movie, which is what Grinch is, okay? To me, that's the Grinch to me, okay? You think about like the 2018 one, I just watched it last year and went, oh god, okay? I might review that later this month, but I watched it and I thought, wow, I love Benedict Cumberbatch, but I hate what they did with him here to try and make him, you know, on anywhere near the same level as Jim Carrey. And a lot of the other things about that movie I just disliked. I didn't hate the movie overall, but I disliked a lot of the things about it, especially in terms of casting and stuff. So I decided I was going to do a Grinch fan cast. But it is very much, let's make no mistake about this, it is very much based on the 2000 version, okay? That is what we're talking about here. I mean, it's kind of quite original. I've kind of come up with my own method of a lot of stuff here, but let's just get into it, okay? Oh, right, okay. You saw the thumbnail. You already know what's coming, okay? The Grinch, I sat down, I thought about it. I couldn't bring myself thinking about any of the male actors I went through. I thought about a lot. I thought about a lot of people that could maybe do it. I never found someone who, in my mind, could be that chaotic, that insane, that just total, you know, the ability to just go so wildly off script and totally nail it and be incredibly funny all at once. There are probably people out there that could do it, but for me, none of them felt right to cast. Jim Carrey destroyed that role for any man. You know, Benedict Cumberbatch coming in, who's great. Just felt like a shadow of a Grinch, really. For me, it had to be Kate McKinnon. I cast Kate McKinnon. I love Kate McKinnon, okay? I love her. I've always wanted to cast her in something, and on all these fan casts. I think I've cast her once or twice, but I've always wanted to cast her in something where I felt she could truly go wild with that chaotic comedic energy, okay? And if you like that term, chaotic comedic, I'm glad, because it's going to come up a lot in this video, yeah. This whole cast, it's kind of chaotic comedic. That's what I've gone for very much. Kate McKinnon personifies that for me. That kind of self-loathing comedy the Grinch brought, that everyone's kind of like, oh, the Grinch is all of us. That's very much what I thought she would be able to bring to this, and I was like, yeah, I want to see it. I couldn't help myself once the thought was implanted in my head. Somebody might have incepted it in there, I don't know, man, but once I thought about it, I couldn't pick anything else. I couldn't pick anyone else. I loved it. I think she'd be hilarious and brilliant, and no, this is not some, you know, kick against the male hierarchy or anything. Like, I don't want it to come off as something like that. Especially, it might come off like that because she is one of the female Ghostbusters. But I didn't even think of it in those terms. I just thought of it as, who could I actually imagine me, you know, only being able to imagine Jim Carrey's Grinch enjoying in that role. And she was the only one who came to mind after a lot of thinking about it. So we're going to stick with it. Next, quick note, I refuse to cast Max. He's a dog, he doesn't need casting. However, if they were to cast him, they'd be using Frank Welker like they did in the 2018 film. I'm not casting him because when I cast people, I don't use people who have played those characters before. So I'm not casting Frank Welker as I'm just saying that he would probably reprise the role, okay? I'm not breaking my rules. Next. So the mayor is the actual foil, the real villain of the piece, okay? As far as we're concerned, because 2000 Grinch is only Grinch. what was that? And basically, I kind of thought, you know, Jeffrey Tambor did a real good job at that. I kind of want to cast David Cross in this role. David Cross would be great at this. He's that kind of, he's got that energy in a lot of characters he plays. I don't know, I can't figure out a nice way really to refer to it really. I call it beta male villain energy, you know, that kind of like, he feels threatened by the Grinch very much because Martha May kind of likes the Grinch and stuff like that, and he likes Martha May, you know, so it's very much beta male cock villain energy, if we're being honest. You know, that is what it is, and I feel like David Cross would play that really well. He doesn't come off like that in person and, you know, as an actual person, but in a lot of the roles he plays, he kind of brings that energy, and I'm like, that would be really funny. He'd be really good at that role. Next, and then the mayor's sidekick, I think his name is Hubris, which is hilarious. I never knew that was his name. If they wanted to cast him as well, I would very much go for somebody like Andy Samberg, okay? Because he's also, as does David Cross, as does most of this cast, have that chaotic comedic energy, you know, it keeps coming up. Just because, you know, you think of like the things that Hubris does in the 2000 film, kind of like shaving his head to match the mayor. That's very much the kind of thing that Andy Samberg would feel more realistic somehow doing that than almost anybody else I can think of. Plus, I love Andy Samberg, you know. He's the kind of person who can play this villainous sidekick role and not come off as, like, really annoying. You know, he'd be like a Kronk villain sidekick, you know. Really, just, like, dumb, but so fun that you just can't help but love him, you know. Andy Samberg's like a puppy dog. You can't hate him. Next. Now, Cindy Lou, right. Cindy Lou Who. Oh, Cindy Lou Who. I was going to cast Cameron Seeley. And then I remembered Cameron Seeley played her in the 2018 version, so I couldn't cast Cameron Seeley. So I was stuck for a little while, and then I realised, you know who'd be really interesting for this? Olive Elise Abercrombie. That's quite a name. She was in The Haunting of Hill House, and dear Lord, dear Lord, look at her. If you don't think that looks exactly like Cindy Lou from the, like, animated, like, old animated version, then you're crazy. She looks exactly like that. It's terrifying how much she looks like that, and she does look terrifying in a lot of the photos you find of her online, because Haunting of Hill House, where she was a scary ghost child, is the main role she's done. She's done other ones, though. She is still, it wasn't a one-time off acting thing. She is doing more in development right now, so I was kind of like, yeah, no, that'll do. That's perfect. And it's terrifying. Next, right, so as much as I had some problems with Benedict Cumberbatch, but still love him, you know, in the 2018 version, my biggest problem with that film was Pharrell Williams as the narrator. Pharrell Williams as the narrator was bad. I hated that. That was right at the beginning. I heard it and I went, oh my god, what the fuck is this? I didn't enjoy it. No. It was Anthony Hopkins, right, in the 2000 version. That's a narrator. You know who else is a good narrator? Keith David. Yes, I want that man to narrate everything. I want him to narrate my life. He's got such a good voice for narration, and this is too important a narrator character to throw it away to something fun and modern like Pharrell Williams. No, we're going Keith David. Keith David rocks. Next, Lou Who. His name is Lou Who, the dad, Cindy Lou's dad, okay? He was, you know what? They cast the parents quite weird. I looked it up. One of the dad was like 50 and the mum like 36 they cast in the 2000 version, so that's a bit chaotic and weird. But I was going to cast Dax Shepard as Lou, because Lou's main defining characteristics didn't have a huge amount of character really, even in the 2000 version. It was that he was kind of absent-minded, a bit addled, and, you know, just a bit weird, and Dax Shepard comes off like that. He also brings, guess what? Chaotic comedic energy. That's what I'm all about today for some reason, guys. I just kept thinking of castings that kind of fit that term, and I was like, hell yeah, okay. The whole cast is just chaotic comedic. I kind of love it. Honestly, I kind of love it. Dax Shepard's just great. Plus, he's going to fit quite well, I feel, with who I've cast as the mum. Whoa, Betty Lou Who, Kristen Bell? What? No, what? Crazy. You don't think they can be married? You don't think they can play married? They are married. Plus, as a pair, they always come off as chaotic comedic. But Kristen Bell, Betty kind of came in the 2000 version as this, like, she was plenty attractive enough. It was Molly Shannon. She was an attractive lady. But she always felt like she wasn't, because she was always looking at Martha May and saying, oh, she's so beautiful and she's so organised, she's so great. And I was kind of like, okay, that's a lot like how Kristen Bell comes off a lot of the time in characters, because she is beautiful, okay? Of course she is. But in things like The Good Place, she's always like talking to Jamal about how like attractive and tall and beautiful she is. when Kristen Bell is just so attractive as well. So I'm like, okay, she could actually really do that role really well, and they're married, so it'd be great, and they just have a lot of fun with it, you know? That was just kind of what I went for in a lot of these roles, was just like, let's just get people who feel like they'll have a good time on set, and I feel like that'll come across, you know? When there's passion and when there's like a lot of just good time, people that are getting along well on sets, it often really works out really well, and you feel that on screen. And that's the kind of happiness and family feeling that you want on screen for a big Christmas movie like this. Next. So, Martin May-Huvier is a real exciting character. You know, a lot of possibilities with that character. Look, Christine Baranski was hilarious and fun as Martha May-Huvier. She was also there entirely so the Grinch could have a sexy love interest with large boobs. And that was her character, you know. She didn't really actually have all that many lines or anything like that at all. Not at all. And I thought, we could cast another eye candy lady with big breasts for Kate McKinnon to make out with at the end. It's all very sexy. Frankly, I didn't want to, because I thought if that character is going to be anywhere near similar to what they were in the 2000 version, but not feel like a really, really purr role, then you need somebody like Chris Hemsworth to play it. Martin May-Huvier, that's right. I just thought, and yes, you know what? After casting Kate McKinnon, wasn't casting her thinking about the female Ghostbusters reboot, but after I cast her, it came up in my head, talking to other people about the casting, and I thought, right. And then I realized, if you want this dumb, broad character, you know, it's not a smart character particularly, it's a weird character into green people. If you wanted someone like that, I think Chris Hemsworth would be able to do it. Be dumb, be sexy, but also make it a hilarious role that doesn't feel, you know, like it's so much of a nothing role, you know, that's just there to be sexy and silent as a love interest, kind of, you know. And that's just the only way I thought that would really work well. So there it is. And if you don't like it, then that is all for this fan cast, guys. I know it's a chaotic fan cast. It's a weird one. I hadn't done anything this controversial in fan cast in a while, but it just seemed right. That was just it. There was nothing about let's do something edgy to it. It just seemed right to me. Subscribe for more fan casts and lots of Christmas content on the channel, and yeah, please subscribe, please.